here. So here you can see we have our simple box right here, and we have that containers. So we just provide a little bit of styling to it. Everything is working the way we expect him to work. So now let's just learn about the set method. So the set method is used to set the properties of an element before animating. You can also use it for like immediately setting the properties of an element, or if you want to create a zero duration animation, so you can also use it for that if you want to. So what I'll do, I'm going to just write a gsub, and then I'm going to access my set method inside there. So what will I do? I'm going to just select my box in here. Okay, so then I'm going to also provide my walls object, and you know what, I'm going to provide opacity, and I'm going to set that to 0, and I'm going to also provide a background of probably maybe yellow would be fine. So now we set these two properties inside this gsub. So if we save our file, and you cannot see that because the opacity is now currently set to 0 and the background is also set to yellow. Okay, so you cannot see both of them. The next thing which we have to do is that we have to use our gsub.to method, as we learned just a second ago, and we also have to select our box one more time, and we have to provide our walls object, and I'm going to just provide opacity of 1 in this case. So if you save our file, and boom, here you can see the opacity is now changed to from 0 to 1. Okay, so that's why we are getting this circle right there. And I'm going to also change the background to be like something else, like maybe crimson would be fine. And now if you save that, and here you can see that background is changed to crimson. We can also provide a duration if you want to, so duration of 3 seconds in this case. So it will take a little bit of time. Let me just refresh that. It will take a little bit of time to apply that crimson color to it, and also that opacity. So what I'll do, I'm going to also provide, like, I don't know, I want this to be like go to the y-axis of 100. And now if you save our file, and here you can see, it will take a little bit of time, and all of that animation is applying. And I'm going to just provide a repeat repeat of -1, and you already know that it will just repeat it infinite times. So if you just save that, and this animation will happen again and again from the beginning through the end. But we also have a new property in GSAP which is called a yo-yo, and as the name suggests that it will just yo-yo over or animation. Like it will just start beginning and through the end, and it will just start from the end through the beginning. You will see that just in a second. So yo, I'm not making this up, but this is a property inside a GSAP. So if you save that to true, if you set that to true, and here you can see it will just go from the bottom to the top. So animation will start, and it will just go from the bottom to the top and stuff like that. If I just comment this line out, let me just comment this line out, and here you can see that blink in this animation. So if you don't want that, you can provide this yo-yo property inside your animation. Okay, so that was the second one, your animations. Let me just copy this, go from the bottom. So set that to true, and here property inside again. So yeah, through the end, and it will just start from the end through the beginning. You will see that just in a second. So yo, I'm not making this up, but this is a property inside a GSAP. So if you save that to true, if you set that to true, and here you can see it will just go from the bottom to the top. So animation will start, and it will just go from the bottom to the top and stuff like that. If I just comment this line out, let me just comment this line out, and here you can see that blink in this animation. So if you don't want that, you can provide this yo-yo property inside your animation. Okay, so that was the second one. Let me just close all of this file, and now let me get into this from and from to. So I'm gonna open all of these three files. So you already know that we have this star file right here, but in this case we are going to be providing through our file. So I'm gonna open all of these file, and now let me get into this from and from to. So I'm gonna open all of these three files. So you already know that we have this star file right here, but in this case we are going to be providing three boxes. So what I'll do, I'm going to just select I'm going to write a section. Maybe I'm going to give a class of container, and I am going to just write box, and then box one would be fine. Let me just write a pause. a few event listeners to it. So now let me just select my play timelines, and after that we are going to be creating our projects. So now let me get into the timelines. So I'm gonna hide this head area from there, and what I'll do is, so you guys can see everything a bit better, I'm gonna create a section with the class of container, and I'm gonna just write box, and I'm gonna also give a special class of box1, duplicate that 2 times, box2 and box3. So if you save a file, right click on it and open it with the live server, and this is how it will look like. But I don't know why we don't have any styling for the background. I guess I messed up. Container, there we go. I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna paste it right here, save file, and yeah, this is how it looks like. Anyway, so I'm gonna cut this style sheet from there, and now let's just start working on our GSAP. So now let's just discuss our topic, which is a timeline, and as the name suggests, that it will be a timeline for our tweens. So what do I mean by that? First of all, let me just declare a variable. I'm gonna give a name of like vartl for like timeline, and I'm gonna just write GSAP, and I'm going to just write like timeline inside there. Okay, so now we have our timeline, so I'm gonna write TL, and then we are going to be using these 2 methods inside there. I'm gonna select my box1. So what do I want to do with that? I'm going to just write like duration of like 2 seconds, and I want to scale it up a bit, so I'm going to write scale of 0, opacity will be set to 0, and delay will be also set to, delay will be just set to like 1 maybe. And now I want to attach that 2 method one more time. I will do just set to like 1 maybe. And now I want to attach delay will be also set to to delay web is just set to like 1 maybe. And now I want to attach that to method one more time. What I'll do, I'm gonna just select my box 1 now. I mean, in this case, I'm going to select my box 2. In this case, I select my box 1. In this case, I selected my box 2 right here. So what do we want to do? I am going to just repeat myself again and again. And by the way, we are going to be refactoring this code just in a second. But hey, I want to repeat myself. I want to show everything. So we have like 200 right there. And now let me just attach one more 2, because we want to also animate this third box as well. So I'm gonna just write like box 3, and now let me just write my wars object, and duration will be now set to 2, and x-axis will just go to like 200 pixel, and border radius radius will be now set. to just 0 in this case, and also rotate will be set to 360 degrees. Okay, so this is going to be for my box 3, and finally let me just use my set method right here. So I'm going to also change my set method, and I'm going to select my box of one more time. Okay, so I'm going to write a duration of 2 seconds to it, and scale scale will be also set to 1, and we have opacity of 1. So if we set profile also set to 1, and we have opacity of 1. So if we scale will be also set to 1, and we have opacity of 1. So if we set scale will be also set to 1, and we have opacity of 1. So if scale will be also set to 1, and we have opacity of 1. So if you save a file, and now if you just refresh it out, okay, so it's not working, and I don't know why. Okay, I forgot to include this E. So now if you save a file, and here you can see this animation. So first it will just animate our first box, which is right here. So what are we doing with it? We are just providing providing a duration of 2 seconds to it, and we are just scaling it to 0, providing the opacity of 0 to it, and we are just delaying there for 1 second. So what else we are doing? We are just selecting our box 2, and we are providing a duration of 2, and we are just pushing that to the x-axis of like minus 200. Then what else we are doing? Then we are providing a duration of 2 seconds to the box 3, and the x-axis, it will just move to the x-axis like dash 200 pixel, and the border radius will be set to 0, and the rotation will be just set to like 360 degree. And finally we are just setting the box 1, and duration will be now set to 2, scale will be now set to 1, and opacity will be also set to 1 again. So if you just refresh that, and here you can see this is the animation for the box 1, then box 2, then we have our box 3, and then we have our box 1 again right here. Okay, so this is a 3, and then we have our box 1 again, then box 2. Fresh scale will be now set to 1, and opacity will be also set to 1 again. So if you just refresh that, and here you can see this is the animation for the box 1, then box 2, then we have our box 3, and then we have our box 1 again right here. Okay, so this is a timeline, but we can do better than that. So what I'll do, I'm going to just select everything right here, and I'm going to just comment it up right here. Or you know what, I'm going to comment it, or you know, let me just uncomment that. I'm going to duplicate all of these code right here, and now I'm going to comment the first version of it. So I'm going to comment that out, and now let me just hit enter, and we have that version right here. So now let's just refactor this version. So I'm gonna write like a refactor. Okay, so refactor, boom. Yeah, that's looking better. So we can also provide default values for this timeline. So we can just pass our curly braces right here, and we can just write it default. Okay, so defaults will be there, and I'm gonna just provide defaults of like duration 1 second maybe. So now what I will do is that I'm going to go inside this timeline, and is that I'm going to go inside this timeline, and we've already selected our box 1, so I'm going to remove this duration of 2 seconds. We provide a scale of 0. We also provide opacity. That's looking better. And then after that we have our box 2. We will just remove this duration one more time, and yeah, that x-axis will be fine. After that we are working on our box 3, so we can just remove this duration from it. So I'm going to just remove this box 3, and yeah, this x-axis that's fine, this rotation is fine. So finally I'm going to just write like x-axis will be now set to 200, and also I'm going to attach one more to method in it, and I'm going to select my box one more time, comma, and now here what I'll do, I'll just write a scale of 1, and also opacity will be now set to 1. So if we save that, and 1, and also opacity will be now set to 1. So if we save that, and now here you can see there's a box 1, there's a box 2, there's a box 3, there's a box 1 one more time. Okay, so this is how you can refactor your code into one more. Here you can see, so opacity will be now set to 1. So if we save that, of 1, and also opacity will be now set to 1. So if we save that, and now here you can see there's a box 1, there's a box 2, there's a box 3, there's a box 1 one more time. Okay, so box 1, there's a box 2, there's a box 3, there's a box 1 one more time. Okay, so this is how you can refactor your code into the timelines, and you can learn more about timelines if you want to So here you will find, okay, so we have a timelines, and you can do crazy stuff with this timeline. So a timeline is just a powerful sequence tools that acts as a container for tweets and other timelines, making it simple to control them as a whole and precisely manage their timing. Without the timelines, building complex sequence would be far more cumbersome, because you need to use a delay for each animation, for example like these, and then that code is refactored to these and stuff like that. So that was just the first example of a timeline, and the second example is also kind of the same like the first one, but hey, we will just see that anyway. So so let me just hide this head area from there, and now inside this body what I'll do, I'll just create my section, and I'm going to give him a class of container, and I'm going to just write a box of container. Inside this box container I'm going to write like h1 of hello, Hussein, my own name, Hussein Web Dev, and then underneath this div I'm going to create my own section, give a class of buttons container. Inside this buttons container I'm going to just write a box and also box 1. Okay, so duplicate that a few times, so we have box 2 and then we have a box 3. Okay, so if you save our file, and that's that. If you check him out, right click on it and open it with the live server, and that's looking like that. And I don't know why I did provide a black color to it, but hey, that will work. First of all, I'm going to create my timeline, and I'm going to store that inside a TL variable. So I'm going to write gsub and then timeline. Okay, so inside their timeline I'm going to provide my words object, then I'm going to provide my defaults object, and I am going to just provide a default value of duration will be now set to 1. Okay, so that's our timeline. Now let me just attach my to method to it. I'm going to select my h1 just like that, and after that I'm going to provide a y-axis of 100, and also the color will be now set to totally white in this case. And now let me just attach my one that that to method one more time. So I'm going to just select my box 1, and yeah, let me just provide my x-axis. It will be now set to 100 pixel, and then we have our background color of it will be now set to totally pink. Okay, so that's that. Now let me just attach my to method one more time, and I'm going to just provide a box of 2. Okay, so y-axis will be now set to 100, and background color will be now totally set to purple in this case. And finally, let me just attach my what do we call it, to method one more time to the box 3. So I'm going to just write box 3, and let me just write x-axis, and it will be now set to 100, and I'm going to provide a background color of crimson, CRMSON. Now if you save that, so here you can see that animation will happen for this text right here. Then we have our box 1, box 2, and then box 3 for this now if you save that, so here you can see that animation will happen for this text right here. Then we have our box 1, box 2, and then box 3. And here you can see we select our to method, we select our h1, and we provide that styling to it. Then we select our box 1, and then we select our box 2, and then finally we select our box 3, and then we select our that styling to it. Then we select our box 1 or h, and then box 3. For this you can see we more time. Finally, let me do the box now set for this text right here. Then we have our box 1, box 2, and then box 3. And here you can see we select our to method, we select our h1 and we provide their styling to it. Then we select our box one, and then we select our box 2, and then finally we select our box 3. So this is what I want to show you in this course. I know it's not a long course, unlike my other courses, which is like I don't know, 80-hour or 14-hour long courses. I have already covered like 100 projects. So last time when I was checking that, so I guess it was like about 30-hour of course, or I'm not sure about that, but I guess it was just like 30-hour or maybe 35-hour of course. I'm not sure about that. So this course was just like a sweet course to work with. So now it's time to create our first project. So here you can see we have this one image right here, which is box Walter is better, and it is came from unsplash.com. If you want to check it out, so you can. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a link to my GitHub repository, which will bring you to my GitHub repository, and then you can download it from there if you want to. So the first thing I would do is that I'm going to just start from my HTML. So we have our metadata, we just link that to our CSS file, and we have the CDN of that GSAP. Okay, so inside this body, what do we have to do? I'm going to write my navigation inside this navigation, I'm going to write a div with the class of logo container. Okay, so inside this logo container, I'm going to just write like creatives. Or yeah, you know, I'm going to just write lowercase creatives. There we go. And underneath this div, I'm going to write my UL. Inside this UL, I'm going to write my li. So li, and I want them to be like, I don't know, maybe 4 time would be fine. Okay, so I'm going to just write like main features. Okay, so then we have a products, after that we have a shop, and we have a contact right here. Okay, so I'll just put my pound symbols inside there, just like a pound, come on, pound symbol, there we go. And now underneath there, we are going to be creating our section with the class of sidebar. Underneath this sidebar, I'm going to create a new section with the class of content container. Inside this content container, I'm going to just render my image, which is this image right here, as alternative text. I'm going to just write like or you know, I'm not going to give him any alternative text. I'm going to give him a class of main image, because we just have one image and this is going to be our main image. Okay, so I'm going to just write a content, so content, and yeah, inside this content I'm going to just write my main title, and it will be like creatives. Okay, so underneath there I'm going to write a paragraph of main info, and I'll just put my welcome to the real world word and period. I'm going to also put a br tag and explore or gallery. Okay, so if you save that, and now let me just right click on it and open it up. Okay, so it will just open it right here, and that's looking awful. Okay, so now let me just make that a bit smaller. Yeah, it is looking awful, so now let me just take care of it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to my CSS, and now let me just style that a bit. So here you can see we just have 2 fonts right here. So the first one is Roboto, the second one is Kumar one outline, or whatever you want to call it. These fonts came from a fonts.google.com if you want to check that out. So the link is like fonts.google.com if you if you want to check that out. Anyways, so now let me just start working on our navigation. So what I will do, I'm going to select my nav, and I'm going to just provide display of flex to it. Justify content will be space around, and align items will be now set to totally center. Position will be now set to fixed because we want our navigation to be totally fixed. Then the width will be set to 100, the z index will be set to 99, and margin for the top I'm gonna give him like 20 pixels. So if you saw there, and you cannot see that because we have to take care of that image first. This image is taking the entire area, come on. Let me just select first of all their image so that we can work with our project. So I'm going to write main image, and I'm going to give him like I don't know, the width of like 440%, and the margin for the top will be now set to 3 rem. Margin for the left will be now set to 6 rems. Okay, so if you save there, and yeah, this is how it looks like, and this is how our main creative navigation looks like. Anyways, so underneath this navigation, what I'll do is that I'm gonna just write my nav and UL. Display will be now set to totally flex, and boom, this is how it looks like. And I guess I messed up something inside this navigation. So we have logo container, and we put all of our stuff inside this navigation, but we don't want that. I'm gonna just close my navigation underneath this UL. Yeah, that's looking better. Alright, so now let me get into my CSS one more time. And now let me just select my li, so nav ul li, and I am going to just provide a list styling of none to it. And margin for the left, I'm going to provide a 4 pixel, and font size I'm going to increase that to 12 pixel, and I'm going to use a font family of sans serif, as you guys know me. Sans serif, and yeah, that's looking awesome. Yeah, so underneath this li, I'm going to select my nav ul li and also the anchor tag, and the text decoration will be now set to none, and the color in this case I'm going to be using like 3, so we have 4 5 6, so 4 5 6, there we go. So yeah, totally black color. Underneath this anchor tag, I'm going to select my logo container of h1, so I'm going to just provide a font family of sans serif to it. So if you saw there, and that's looking a bit bolder. And now let me just get my sidebar, so I'm going to write sidebar. Did I spell it correctly or not? So copy that, I'm going to paste right here. That was correct. Anyway, so I'm going to just provide a background of D7. Let me just write D7 51 57, there we go, 57, there we go. And width will be just 30%, and I'm gonna also provide a height of 100 VH. Position will be totally set to fix, and the Z index will be now set to -1. So if you save there, and yeah, this is how it looks like. So we are getting there, but it will take a little bit of time. And now let's just take care of our content container. Okay, so which is that content container where we are placing all of our content, like our image and our info. Okay, so now let me just take care of that. So I'm going to write a display of flex to it. Flex wrap will be now set to wrap, and justify content will be now set to center, and align items will be also set to centered. So height will be also set to 100 VH, and the font family I am going to change that to Roboto and sans serif if you don't have access to that Roboto. And yeah, this is how it looks like right here. After that, now let's just take care of this title. So underneath this main image, I'm going to just write main title, and I'm going to just write transform of rotate. We want to rotate our text to the 90 degrees, so 90 degree. And also the margin for the top, I'm going to give like 10 rems, and the font family, not font family but font size will be now set to 3 rem, and the font family in this case will be that Kumar. Let me just write Kumar 1 outline. If you don't have access to that, so then we want to use our cursive font. So there we go. Yeah, so if you save there, and this is how it looks like. You know, I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. Yeah, that's looking better. And now let's just take care of our main info. So I'm gonna write main info, main info, and the transformation for that will be, oh, you know what, I messed it up something. No, that's fine, that's fine. Rotate will be also -90 degree, because you also want to rotate this text as well. So font family, I'm going to set that to sans serif, and text alignment will be also set to center. Width I'm going to give him like 200 pixel, and the margin for the bottom I'm gonna give him like 5 pixel, not pixel but rems. Okay, so underneath there I'm going to just write margin for the left of 7 rems. So if you save there, and yeah, that's looking better. But the final thing which we have to do is that we have to provide our animations to it. So what we have to do, we have to go to our JavaScript file and provide our animations to it. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to declare our variable, and we want to just store our timeline inside there. So we want to write timeline, and now let me just provide my words object, so defaults, and now let me just provide the opacity to 0. This is going to be the default one. The ease will be set to linear, linear, and comma duration will be now set to 1, and that's there. Underneath all of that, what I will do is that I'm going to just access my timeline, and I'm going to use my from to method right here. And now first of all, let me just select my sidebar, and I'm going to just provide the default value of like width width, and it will be now set to 0. I'm going to provide a comma, and I'm going to also provide this curly braces, and opacity will be now set to 1. The width will be now set to how much? 30%. Okay, so underneath there I'm going to also select my timeline from 2, and I'm going to select, in this case I'm going to select my main image, which is that image. We just have one image right here, so x-axis will be set to 0, and I'm going to also provide opacity, and it will be now set to to 1. Okay, so that's looking better. And finally, let's just write our timeline from 2 of our content, and I'm going to just provide an x-axis of like 100 pixel or whatever, and then we have a comma, then we have opacity. It will be now set to 1, and the x-axis will be also set to 0. So if we save there, and boom, 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 kaboom. We are totally done with our project, and that's there. And boom, axis will be also set to 0. So opacity, then also we just have and and comma duration will be now set to 1, and that's there. Underneath all of that, what I will do is that I'm going to just access my timeline, and I'm going to use my from to method right here. And now first of all, let me just select my sidebar, and I'm going to just provide the default value of like width width, and it will be now set to 0. I'm going to provide a comma, and I'm going to also provide this curly braces, and opacity will be now set to 1. The width will be now set to how much? 30%. Okay, so underneath there I'm going to also select my timeline from 2, and I'm going to select, in this case I'm going to select my main image, which is that image. We just have one image right here, so x-axis will be set to 0, and I'm going to also provide opacity, and it will be now set to 1. Okay, so that's looking better. And finally, let's just write our timeline from 2 of our content, and I'm going to just provide an x-axis of like 100 pixel or whatever, and then we have a comma, then we have opacity. It will be now set to 1, and the x-axis will be also set to 0. So if we save there, and boom, 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 kaboom. We are totally done with our project, and that's there. And by the way, I forgot to show you one thing, which is that what was that? What was I thinking? I was thinking about I don't know, man, I forgot that. What was that linear I was thinking about? Linear, I use linear somewhere. Okay, so we have a easing, so let me just write ease visualizer. Was that ease visualizer? Or animation visualizer. Let me just type a visual, visualizer or whatever that was. You know, I'm gonna just quick Google search. So GSAP visualizer. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So we have a ease visualizer. I kind of forgot the name of it. And here you can see we have this visualizer right here, and you can do crazy stuff with that. So by default it will be like that. If you run it, and boom, our animation will look like that. We can also provide our power, and we can also even change these degrees, and you can get all of this code right here. So if you just copy ease, it will copy it to your clipboard, and there we go. You can also provide the expo, and this is how it will look like. You can go crazier like sine theta. And you can go slow, it will just move it to the slow. You can go rough, like kind of a rough, nobody wants that. This is kind of an awful one. You can do bouncing if you want to, and we have elastic is kind of a weird one. And then we have a back, so you can just go back. So I've used this easing right here, and I provide just a linear to it, and you can use all of these stuff right here. So that's the end of the course. I know that was a short course, like this is the shortest course I have ever made, but hey, this is like one of my favorite courses that I've enjoyed making it, because this is an animation course. If you want the advanced version of this course, so feel free to comment it out, and I'm gonna do my best to provide great projects using advanced techniques of GSAPs. So that was just a course for beginners. It's not only for beginners, like we cover a lot of stuff inside there, but hey, I guess that was just a quick introduction for beginners to like GSAP, and you can learn crazy amount of stuff. And like GSAP is the most awesome and the most loved JavaScript animation framework, so you can check like anything you want. So we have different kind of tools like scroll trigger, which is like awesome thing to work with. We also have a developer tools for GSAP. So final words will be like, thanks for watching, and I've got a lot of courses if you want to check that out. I have course on a Tailwind CSS with a lot of projects. I have got course on a JavaScript. I have 100 projects course. I have a lot of courses. If you want to check that out, that's going to be awesome. Anyways, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. So now let's begin our conversation by talking about what in the world is OOP and why you should care about that. So OOP, or Object Oriented Programming, is a programming language more